Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. I am the Twisted Jedi, and this video will be a follow-up from yesterday where I discussed all the news from the community transmission in regards to Battlefront 2's Season 2 Part 2 update. Well, this video will go over all the patch notes, including what's being added, hero nerfs, buffs, tweaks, game mode changes, class changes, and general bug fixes. And if you haven't watched yesterday's video, be sure to do so as it discusses all the upcoming content arriving on June 12th. Anyways, I'm just going to get started because there is a lot to go over. So diving in, we are starting with the new content. And first on the list is appearances. Han Solo will get 2 legendary appearances from Solo: A Star Wars Story, including the Corellia Escape and Beckett's crew outfits, being the grey jacket and the brown jacket. Lando gets the Professional Sportsman and Raconteur, which is the yellow outfit with the cape and the colourful outfit from the end of the movie. Chewbacca will also get the Vandor Heist outfit, which will be epic, and 40,000 credits. Some new features include adding Kessel as a new location, added the new Extraction game mode, which is playable on Kessel and Jabba's Palace. They also added the map Kessel to play Blast, HVV, Hero Showdown, and Arcade mode, and they also added Lando's Millennium Falcon as a playable vehicle in Starfighter Assault. As far as menu changes, they removed the holograms from deploy and MVP screens. They implemented a character inspector in the collection screens to show off the skins, and time challenges are now displayed and accessible from the home screen. I'm really glad they removed the holograms from the deploy and MVP screens. It's going to look so much cleaner, and definitely spawning in will be much better as heroes, as you get to see all the skins that you've worked hard for to unlock. Anyways, getting into hero and villain changes, Emperor Palpatine had fixed an issue where the chain lightning ability was not doing any damage, and Captain Phasma will now have the First Order Sentry droid last for 5 seconds after being defeated. Lando Calrissian will have fixes for the Disabler, which failed to stun enemies and sometimes affected friendlies, which could get a little bit annoying at times, so I'm really glad they fixed that. Now the final hero change, because there weren't too many, was a hero change for Rey, where they fixed an issue where she could dash through a lightsaber block. I kind of thought it was supposed to be that way because there isn't much that can get through a lightsaber block, but nonetheless they have changed this to no longer go through it. General changes also include fixing an issue where an equipped trooper appearance was not applied when deploying into vehicles, and the lock-on system will now warn a player whenever an item is locking onto them, not just when the weapon has already locked on. Class changes include the Assault Combat role, which is now blocked for a brief period of time while activating Toughen Up. This is to prevent discrepancies between animation, audio, and the abilities activation. And also the Heavy had the fixing of an issue where the Marksman star card incorrectly reset the Sentry ability during on headshot kills, as Marksman is only intended to affect heat-based weapons. They also gave the Ion Torpedo 3 shots per magazine instead of 1 to make it more reliable against certain targets, and increase the torpedo damage to make it more reliable against vehicles overall. The Officer now has a slightly reduced damage for the SE-44C and the Blurg 1120, with the intention to make these less viable in a situation where an assault rifle should be better suited. They have also slightly reduced the flash duration of the flash grenade, and they fixed an issue where the improved flash grenade inadvertently caused a longer flash during that than the default version, which should not have been happening. I'm really glad the SE-44C and Blurg are getting nerfs. The SE-44C is my main weapon, but I do think it is a little bit overpowered, as well as with the Blurg's one-shot headshot. To be a kill is just way too OP, so I'm glad that's getting a nerf as well. The Specialist got some interesting changes to health, with increased health to be in line with the Officer and Assault classes. The intent with this change is to bring the Specialist's KD ratio up in line with the other Trooper classes, and to give Specialists the chance to improve their average score per minute, as both values were the lowest of all classes. Base health will be increased from 100 to 150, and health regeneration per second will be decreased from 60 to 30. I'm not sure how I feel about this health being up to 150, but I guess we'll have to wait and see how it plays, and I'll give you guys my opinion when I find that out. Sprint recovery. When looking at the Specialist, one thing to note is that the intended gameplay is not for players to sprint and fire. As such, they've slightly increased the sprint recovery penalty with all Specialist primary weapons, which means that a Specialist will be somewhat slower to fire the first shot with their primary weapon after sprinting. A couple of changes to the aerial class. They will now have reduced deploy time on rocket launches from 1 to 0.8 seconds to make the timing from activation to firing the weapon a little bit snappier. They also increase the time the player has control over the jetpack jetpack, giving them better air control so you guys can avoid jumping off maps, especially on Bespin, which will be reintroduced with Jetpack Cargo, and that's going to be so much better to have more control because I know a lot of people fly off that map. Game modes and location changes. Galactic Assault and Arcade got some changes, which you can find the full list for in the patch notes in the description, and for Heroes vs Villains there were just 2 changes, including fixing an issue on Takodana where Boba Fett could reach an invisible collision platform behind the castle where no other hero could get to, and the issue where sometimes we respawned way too close to enemies. So I'm glad that's been fixed because that was a big problem on Takodana. Hero Showdown. They have revised the HUD to show the timer permanently and changed the countdown timer circle to count each second when there is 30 seconds left. Now if the time ends and both teams have the same score, it's going to be a draw for that round. Jetpack Cargo. Yes, you heard right. Jetpack Cargo. They've revised the HUD to show the timer permanently and changed the countdown timer circle to count each second where there is 30 seconds left, much like they did in Hero Showdown. Now if the time ends and both teams have the same score, it's a draw, and they have also added a kill log as well as each of the rounds lasting a maximum of 6 minutes. So I know we had problems with rounds going for way too long. I managed to play a round that was like 47 minutes or something. It was crazy one time. So I'm glad they've made it a limit of 6 because it was just getting out of hand. For Ewok Hunt, they polished the Ewok jump attack, updated audio near the end of the match to build up when the shuttle comes, reduced the starting score bonus for the first Ewok, created a different crosshair color when under the effects of Valiant Horn. They also revised the crate pickup locations so that there are less weapons in the cave, and they fixed an issue where sometimes a stormtrooper would change to an Ewok after dying by their own grenade. Not only did they do this, but they also decreased the hut interaction area so that Ewoks don't activate the hut entrance by accident, and they added in-world markers to the treetop exits for Ewoks to provide a better understanding of which door to take. A few minimal location changes were made, but nothing really worth noting. Again, check the patch notes for more details on that. And lastly, the general changes that they made were adding an animation to the XP bar when ranking up, implemented additional matchmaking information in the end of round, fixed an issue on consoles where players could encounter an infinite black loading screen if quitting the server when the planet was shown during the end of round screen. Also on PC, an issue where Chewbacca couldn't use any emotes in arcade if the Wookiee smuggler appearance was equipped has now been fixed, as well as adjusting the credit payout for time spent in match by reducing the time bonus by 20% in order to give more weight to actions during the match. So you're going to get a credit bonus for your time spent in a match now. It's going to make you want to play the objective much more because everybody wants those credits, and the longer time you can spend in a match now, you will get bonus credits. So guys, that's it for the changes. Mostly minimal for now, but some good changes nonetheless. I'm looking forward to the 12th for new skins, extraction mode, and Kessel as a new map. But for now, I am out of here. Leave a like on the video to show your support. I am the Twisted Jedi, and may the Force be with you always.
The Sith are all powerful. You are no match for me.